it's Darby. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. If you aren't, I hope things get better for you very soon. Having a sucky week, sucky month, whatever, it's not fun. No one enjoys it. So I hope things will get better for you very shortly. Today I'm going to be talking about 3 things that I have been told and I put them to the side. I totally forgot about them and they are slowly coming back up in a different way, and I thought I would share them with you because I think they can be very impactful and they have a lot of meaning to them. So I'm going to jump kind of in with a bit of a backstory and then we will jump into each of the 3 things. So backstory is that this summer for a month I went to Africa on a mission trip and I spent a month there and I didn't have a phone and I was just surrounded by a bunch of like-minded people that were all there to serve the Lord and were yearning to hear more from the Lord and just seeking a more intimate relationship with Him. So I heard a lot of things while I was there, and 3 of them were very impactful. I heard them in a different way while I was there, and they all came back up recently. So the story behind that is about 2.5 weeks ago probably. I basically just had a breakdown. I went out to our living room, sat out there, and I was just crying for 2 hours. And at first I was fighting it and I was trying not to cry, trying to not let the emotions control me, and it was very clear afterwards that I wasn't fighting emotion, I was fighting spirit and flesh. My spiritual side of me was tired and worn out and just exhausted, and the worldly side of me was like, no, I can do this on my own, I'm fine, I'm tough, I'm independent, and so it was a battle, and I finally gave in to my spiritual side and just kind of let the Lord wreck me, and I wrote this very long prayer out in my phone of just what I was feeling at the time, and about halfway through there's a change of perspective. It goes from this very just lonely and sad and just torn up perspective to this perspective of okay, I've got this, and there's so much more to this than just face value. So I'm going to now, okay, bye hairband. I am going to go into the 3 things. If you see me looking down, I have it written down here so I don't forget anything, and so I can help myself from saying and a lot. So hopefully I won't get too annoying. First thing is something that the Lord spoke to me very sincerely, and my perspective of it was, okay, this doesn't make sense really. So what I heard the Lord say was, you are my/a queen. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, that's not something you're used to hearing from the Lord necessarily. So I was trying to fight myself of okay, is that from the Lord or is that from my own thoughts? So I was sitting there and I'm going back and forth between what does this mean? And then I was going through the prayer that I had been praying, and the first part was talking about abandonment, sadness, loneliness, a lot of just very flesh things of the world, of not feeling good enough, not feeling heard, not feeling seen, and all these things that had just kept piling up and piling up that I wasn't taking to the Lord for Him to hold and be okay, I have you, we've got this together. And so hearing you are my/a queen, I was okay, what is God trying to say about this? So I wrote down 3 of the major things that for me he was speaking through this. 1 is you are wanted, loved, and surrounded by people. For some of you, that's like, okay, cool, that's awesome, and whatever. For me, that was very, very, very just like on point of what I was like breaking down about, because I was like, I feel like I have like no one around me, even though like I know I'm surrounded, but I feel like I have no one around me. And it was like part of the prayer, I was like, I feel abandoned by you, but I know you have not left me and you never will leave me. And then this was just an affirmation of like, I've told you time and time again, you have so many people around you that love you and that are fighting for you. So see that. Like, realize the intensity of the family you have around you. Like, queens have a ton of people around them. They're not all considered family technically, no. But they are for me. So then another thing was you are loved and you are wanted. Out of those 2, it was a lot of like my own like self dignity of like, am I pretty enough? Am I da-da-da? Am I da-da-da? Am I da-da-da? Or all those things that I was just like battling with. And like queens, like they are pursued after. Many people are like, ooh, like I want to marry a queen, or like I want to marry like that level of authority is like highly sought after. And so I was like, okay, like cool, this is awesome, and like love, like where there are queens, like they are usually loved and loved greatly. And that was just another affirmation of like, 1, the Lord loves me and he loves me well, but 2, that the people around me, they love me and they are fighting for me. So another thing with you're a queen is I have a voice. Queens have a say in a lot of things. And something I'd been struggling with is like, my story good enough, or will it help people? And like in Africa, I had seen how my story had changed several people's lives and perspectives, and was a very strong like tie to a lot of things, and the power behind it. And so in that, the Lord just like kind of renewed that and brought me back to the aspect of, in Africa, you saw you had a voice, you saw the power that was behind your voice because you're speaking my truth and the life into these people. So realize that again, that I'm calling you a queen because they have a voice and they have a say, because you have a say and you have a voice that will impact many. And so that was just very like joy bringing and very just almost protecting and like comforting in the insecurities I'd had with that. Another thing was kind of a more or so later on revelation over the Lord speaking this over me, was that in Wolfpack, my leader had spoken the word like determination over me, of like, I keep going for something, like, and I'm not gonna stop. And that's very much what I've seen in myself for many years. And little did I know it was going to tie back to this for me, and that like, you have to work so hard to get to that titleship, or you have to be born into that, or like all these different things have to fall in line in like a specific way, and like whatever. But like, not giving up and not losing hope when you make a wrong decision. Like the queen, I'm sure, has made plenty of wrong decisions, and so have presidents, and so have like kings and religious leaders. Like, they make wrong decisions. Like, we're human, we are of flesh, and we do struggle, we have mess ups, we have mishaps. But to pick ourselves up and like strive for greatness and strive for living a better life and making the right decisions and correcting our wrongs and addressing situations that need to be addressed. And so the Lord like really spoke over that and was like, okay, like, don't stop the fight, like keep fighting and keep going, because like, you're not done yet. like your story's not over. It's going to keep growing, so keep fighting. Second thing is the Lord spoke over me, you hear me. And for me, that was very just almost repetitive and reassuring in the aspect of I was hearing the Lord's voice so clearly, and I was hearing it very often while I was in Africa. And then once I get back to the States, I almost like shut it down and like faded away and walked away from it because I wasn't practicing hearing his voice like on a regular basis and wasn't needing to hear his voice like on a daily basis for certain things that were going on. Or that wasn't my first thought of it. Like I wasn't thinking like, oh, like I really need to listen to the Lord's voice in this. Like I just went back to my normal life, very much so. And there was a lot of just flipping that mindset of back to don't say you don't hear me, because look back at Africa and see how much you heard me, but in reality you're just tuning me out or you're not asking. And so another thing with that was that like he was saying like I'm still talking, you're not listening. And so that was very convicting of the fact that I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, like I'm not hearing from the Lord in this, or I can't do this, or da 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 da. And the whole time God's sitting there saying like, I'm talking to you about each of these things, but you won't listen to me. You're not turning to me. You're not giving it over to me. You are not putting me at the front of this to take care of you. And that like wrecked me because I realized like how much I wasn't turning it back all to God, and I was just trying to fix it with everything in the world and not with things that only God can do. So yeah, the third thing was you are free. And this is a very large topic for me. I could probably make an entire video dedicated to this part. And so I found a lot of freedom while I was in Africa from a lot of different things and a lot of misconceptions, a lot of doubts, and the Lord just kept freeing me from those things, freeing me from bondages and just all these different things that kept adding up. And I found a revelation in this a couple of days after the Lord had spoken it to me, because I was fighting with God so much that night of like, you are free. Like, what does that mean? What are you trying to get at? Like, I know I'm free. You like promised us freedom, like when we're walking in your name. Like, why are you telling me this? I already knew this. What? Almost in an aspect of it's not good enough. What are you trying to say? Like, make it better. Like, make it more powerful. And the Lord, like, very much so, basically just was like, pay attention. That's not what I'm saying. Like, this is good enough. This simple 3 words have a lot more meaning than you realize. And the first revelation I had out of it was something I spoke to a group of people, and that so many times we claim that we are free from a bondage that we have, whatever it be. And like, if you look on a shirt's like tag, that's usually like on one of these hymns on the side or like on the back or something, like it says what the shirt is made out of. Like, you can say potentially like 70% cotton, 30% polyester. I don't know what those tags say, but it says something along that line. And how many times do we sit there and go, oh, I'm 70% free and then 30% still bound by blah, blah, blah. And I personally was saying that in my own life, of saying I am like 70% like free from depression, but 30% of the time I still have anxiety attacks or get very depressed. And the Lord just like was very lovingly convicting on that, of Have I not told you time and time again that I give you complete freedom? Have I not told you time and time again that when I give you freedom, I wash it white as snow? It is cleaned off, clean slate. We're starting over again. Have I not told you that? Have I not been faithful in that? Have I not showed you that over and over again, it is done? Like, you don't have to fight it. I win. Victory is ours. You are free. And it was very eye-opening for me in the aspect of I hadn't truly 100% been like, okay, like I'm free and there's nothing that can stop that. There's nothing that can change that. And with that, the Lord really reminded me of a lot of the things that I had claimed freedom from while in Africa. Yeah, I came back to the States and retook on those bondages because as human, we want control and we want to be the one in charge. And so we pull back the things that we give to the Lord and claim them as us and make them part of our identity. But in reality, the Lord's sitting there going, no, I've given you all the identity you need. I have called you son. I have called you daughter. I have called you free. I have called you mine. I've called you beloved. He puts all these titles on us, and we're sitting there trying to write and print oh, he also calls me this. But that's not what he calls us. But we're also writing worldly titles of what we are seeing the world calling us, but that's not our true identity. That's just the world, and that's the way of the flesh, and that stands no value in the eyes of the Lord because he calls you who you are. Like, he is who he says he is, and he says who we are, and that's the purest and most loving definition that I think you will ever have. Yes, is there tough love from God? For sure. But it's still love, and it's still a healthy correction, and he is steering us back into the path of him. So those are 3 things that I forgot while I have just gotten caught up in life, but have been extremely moving for me, and I know they will impact many people's lives. So I came on here to share it with y'all, and I hope that it will impact somebody else's life as it has impacted mine, or will make an impact so much greater. And if you know somebody that would benefit from this, share this video with them, send them this way, and let them be reaffirmed in these things, because I know that the Lord's not only speaking this to me, he's speaking this to many people, and he's wanting to use me as a way of sharing that, because maybe they aren't hearing it directly from him in person, but they can hear it from him through me. And that's what I want for people, is for them to still hear the Lord's voice through me. It's not about me, it's about him in the end. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up so that I know you liked it. Leave a comment down below if you have any ideas of videos or just anything you want to say. I would love to talk to you all. And please, please, please make sure you subscribe to join the family so you know when I upload. You'll also want to push the notification bell so that you actually get notified, because YouTube has kind of changed their algorithm up, and that will help you actually get notified when I do upload. So I will see you all in my next video, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Please hit the circle to subscribe, and you will see a link to my newest video as well. See you next week. Bye.